Good morning, radio fans. Big Al here on this Sunday, July 31st, 2022. And this is part two of our rundown of the AM and FM radio stations throughout Jacksonville, Florida, and Brunswick, Georgia. This list also includes stations from St. Augustine. We looked at the AM portion of the dial yesterday, and we're going to wrap up our run through the Jacksonville market with a look at the FM stations. So let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting on the AM side, or rather the FM side of the dial here on 88.1 channel 201, you have WCRJ Jacksonville, branded as the Joy FM 88.1. This station plays Christian adult contemporary music throughout the year and Christmas music during the holidays. WCRJ signed on as WNCM in 1984 and became WCRJ in 1993. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 8,000 watts. Programming originates from studios located at 6469 Parkland Drive in Sarasota, Florida. And the station's transmitter is located off of Hogan Road near the transmitter tower used by TBN television station WJEB Channel 59. And that transmitter is also in Jacksonville. WCRJ is owned by the Radio Training Network, owners of the Joy FM, which runs several religious radio stations throughout the state of Florida. 88.7 channel 204 is WJFR Jacksonville, branded as Family Radio, featuring a religious format. The station's first sign-on and FCC license are both unlisted on Wikipedia. WJFR does broadcast at 8,000 watts. Programming originates from Family Radio's headquarters at 4057 Rural Plains Circle, Suite 300B in Franklin, Tennessee, not too far from Nashville. Program operations originate from Alameda, California. WJFR's transmitter is located at the end of Haywood Dowling Drive in Jacksonville, and this station is, of course, owned by Family Stations Incorporated. Short space next to them on 88.9 channel 205 is WWIO-FM Brunswick, Georgia, branded as GPB Savannah with a public radio news and talk format. First sign-on for WWIO-FM is unlisted. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 11,500 watts. Programming originates from Georgia Public Broadcasting's studios and headquarters at 260 14th Street Northwest in Atlanta. The station's transmitter is on Emory Dawson Parkway near Cypress Mill Creek in Brunswick. WWIO-FM is owned by Georgia Public Broadcasting and licensed to Georgia Public Telecommunications Commission, and is a simulcast of WSVH 91.1 FM in Savannah, Georgia, which broadcasts in high definition. On 89.3 channel 207 is WECC-FM Folkestone, Georgia. They're branded as The Lighthouse, with a contemporary Christian music format, affiliated with the Salem Radio Network. First sign-on is unlisted on Wikipedia. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 30,000 watts. Studios are located at 5465 Highway 40 East in St. Mary's, Georgia. Transmitter is located off of Billyville Road in Woodbine, Georgia. WECC-FM is owned by Lighthouse Christian Broadcasting Corporation and programming is simulcast during daytime hours on WWIO AM 1190 in St. Mary's, Georgia. 89.9 Channel 210, broadcasting in high definition. In fact, this is the first of the Jacksonville area stations in HD dial position, and that's WJCT-FM Jacksonville, known as WJCT News 89.9, I should say, on 89.9 FM analog and 89.9-1 is public radio news and talk. 89.9-2 is Classical 24, which plays classical music. 89.9-3 is Anthology, which is classic hits. And on 89.9-4 is The Independent, which is adult album alternative. WJCT-FM has affiliations with National Public Radio. Signed on the air in 1972, they have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 98,000 watts. Their studios are located at 100 Festival Park Avenue, with transmitting facilities at 8675 Hogan Road, both in Jacksonville. WJCT-FM is owned by WJCT Incorporated, which also owns Jacksonville's PBS member station, WJCT-TV Channel 7. 90.7 Channel 214 is WAYR-FM, Brunswick, Georgia. WAY-FM, featuring Christian adult contemporary music. This station signed on the air in 1996. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 14,000 watts. Studios are located at 2500 Russell Road in Green Cove Springs, Florida, Jacksonville suburb. Their transmitter is in Brunswick, in the 200 block of Rose Drive. And this station is owned by Good Tidings Trust Incorporated. 90.9 Channel 215 is WJKV Jacksonville, and they broadcast in high definition. This is Jacksonville's positive, encouraging K-Love, featuring contemporary Christian music on 90.9 FM analog and 90.9-1. 90.9-2 is K-Love's sister network, Air One, which features Christian worship music. And on 90.9-3 is Radio Nueva Vida, which is Spanish contemporary Christian. WJKV signed on February 8, 1973 as WFAM at 91.1 FM and moved to 90.9 sometime in the 1980s, becoming WKTZ-FM in 1985 and later WJKV in 2015. WJKV has a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at an ERP of 4,100 watts, rather 41,000 watts. Sorry about that. Programming originates from K-Love's world headquarters in Rockland, California. The transmitter is at 8541 Newton Road, on the transmitter tower also used by Channel 59 in Jacksonville. WJKV is owned by EMF, the Educational Media Foundation. Programming is relayed on translator stations W208AV 89.5 FM in the San Jose neighborhood of Jacksonville, and on W270CD 101.9 FM in Jacksonville Beach. Wikipedia also lists translator station W281 AM 104.1 FM in McClenny, Florida, but this is a relay station for another station. We'll tell you all about that later. 93.1, or rather 91.3, 91.7, and 91.9 are all the same station. 91.3, channel 217 is WATY, Folkestone, Georgia. This airs to the Brunswick area and the northern Jacksonville suburbs. 91.7, channel 219 is WTRJ FM, Orange Park, Florida. This is aimed at Metro Jacksonville proper. And 91.9, channel 220 is WAYL St. Augustine, which covers the southern portion of the Jacksonville market. These three stations are branded as The Truth, and all feature a Christian talk and teaching format. WATY Folkestone, Brunswick signed on the air in 2000. WTRJ FM Orange Park, Jacksonville signed on October 31st, 1986 as WNLE and became WJBC FM in 2006 and later WTRJ FM in 2010. WAYL St. Augustine signed on June 16, 2015. That was when the station's FCC license was granted. WATY and WAYL both have Class A licenses with the FCC, while WTRJ FM has a Class C3 license. WATY operates at 3,800 watts, WTRJ FM at 6,500 watts, and WAYL at 5,000 watts. Studios are located at 7235 Bentley Road in Jacksonville. WATY's transmitter is off of McKendree Road in Kingsland, Georgia. WTRJ FM's transmitter is at 8541 Newton Road at the Channel 59 Tower in Jacksonville. And WAYL's transmitter is at 567 Lewis Point Road Extension behind the WFOY studios in St. Augustine. All three stations are owned by Delmarva Educational Association, and programming is relayed on translator stations W232AY 94.3 FM Jacksonville and W279AG 103.7 FM in Atlantic Beach. So that's the non-commercial band on FM. Now let's jump to the commercial band on FM. Starting off with 92.7 channel 224, which is WSSI Darien, Georgia, known as 27 SSI. They feature a classic hits format. This station airwaves on December 4th, 1989 as WPFI. Underwent 5 call sign changes with 5 sets of call letters, named WSSI back in 2016. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 7,000 watts. Studios are located at 205 Marina Drive, St. Simons Island, Georgia. Their transmitter is located in 200 block of Rose Drive in Brunswick. WSSI is owned by Golden Isles Broadcasting, LLC. 93.3 channel 227, broadcasting in high definition, is WJBT Callahan, Florida. They're branded as 93.3 The Beat. On 93.3 FM analog and 93.3-1 is Urban Temporary, or hip hop, as I like to call it. 93.3-2 is the Black Information Network, which is black-oriented news. And on 93.3-3 is classic hip-hop. WJBT signed on in 1975 at 92.7 and moved to 93.3 FM in 1992. The station became WLK in 1983, WAIA in 1990, WPLA in 1995, WROO in 2005, and later WJBT with its current hip-hop format in 2008. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts from studios located at 11700 Central Parkway in Jacksonville. Transmitter is at 8675 Hogan Road in Jacksonville. WJBT 93.3 is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. Translator station W2one AM 104.1 FM McLean, Florida relays the Black Information Network on HD2. 94.1 channel 231 is WSOS FM Fruit Cove, Florida. They're known as Jax Country 94.1. Jax spelled Jax. This is a classic country signing on the air in 1991 as WSOS. They used WMKM during their construction permit period from September 21st, 1981 through March 19th, 1985. The station officially became WSOS on March 19th of that year and would use that call sign upon signing on the air. Added the FM suffix on September 3rd, 2002, and it's stuck ever since. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,500 watts. Studios are located at 7235 Bentley Road in Jacksonville, with transmitting facilities at 846 Worth Road, also in Jacksonville. WSOS FM is owned by Nancy Epperson and licensed to Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation. 95.1 channel 236, broadcasting in high definition, is one of Jacksonville's highest rated stations, WAPE-FM Jacksonville. They're known as 95.1 WAPE. Playing top 40 CHR on 95.1 FM analog and 95.1-1. And there are no additional subchannels. This is one of Jacksonville's oldest FM signals, signing on in 1949. Used WJAX-FM as its call sign from 1978 until becoming WAPE-FM in 1986. And this call sign is derived from its former sister station, or its current sister station, I should say, on 690, which was known as WAPE-AM. Nowadays, they're known as WOKV-AM. 95.1 WAPE has a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 8,000 Belfort Parkway in Jacksonville. Their transmitter is on North Georgia Street at Gator Boulevard in downtown Jacksonville. WAPE-FM is owned by Cox Media Group and licensed to Cox Radio LLC. 96.1 channel 241 is WEJZ Jacksonville. They're branded as 96.1 WEJZ or simply at 96.1 EJZ. This station plays adult contemporary music, and I'm not sure if this station switches to Christmas music during the holidays. I'll have to listen come December and find out then. WEJZ signed on in 1948 as WMBR-FM. The station underwent 3 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters until they became WEJZ in 1987. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 6440 Atlantic Boulevard in Jacksonville. Their transmitter is also at North Georgia Street and Gator Bowl Boulevard in downtown Jacksonville, the same tower used by WAPE. WEJZ, owned by Renda Broadcasting and licensed to Renda Broadcasting Corporation of Nevada. And this is one of just 2 stations in Jacksonville that they own. 96.9 Channel 245, broadcasting in high definition, is WJGL Jacksonville. 96.9 The Eagle. On 96.FM Analog and 96.9-1 is a classic rock leaning classic hits format. And on 96.9-2 is an urban contemporary station known as Power 1061. WJGL signed on the air on July 1st, 1969 as WRLJ. Station underwent 3 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters, including WPDQ-FM, which was used from 1971 to 1975. The station became WJGL in 2005. They have a Class C license with the FCC at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studio located at 8000 Belfort Parkway in Jacksonville. It is off of Hogan Road, right at the Channel 59 transmitter in Jacksonville. WJGL 96.9 The Eagle is owned by Cox Media Group and licensed to Cox Radio LLC. Translator station W291CI 106.1 FM Jacksonville relays the hip-hop format on HD2. 97.9 Channel 250, also broadcasting in high definition, is WKSL Neptune Beach, Florida. 97.9 KISS FM. Sorry, something in my throat. On 97.9 FM Analog and 97.9-1 is Top 40 CHR. 97.9-2 is the Spanish News and Talk simulcast Acción 97.3, or should I say Acción 97.3. This is the simulcast of WFXJ AM 930. And on 97.9-3 is an urban gospel station dubbed as Praise 107.9. WSL signed on as WFOY-FM in August of 1965 at 97.7. The station underwent 5 call sign changes with 5 sets of call letters until they became WKSL in 2014. The station moved to its present 97.9 position in 1992. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 12,500 watts. Studios are located at 11700 Central Parkway in Jacksonville. Transmitter is at 8675 Hogan Road, also in Jacksonville. They're owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. Translator station W247CF, 97.3 FM in the Jacksonville suburb of Orange Park, Florida, relays WFXJ's programming on WKSL HD2. And translator station W300CU, 107.9 FM Jacksonville relays the urban gospel format on HD3. 99.1 channel 256, broadcasting in high definition, is another one of the River City's highest rated stations, and that's WQIK FM Jacksonville. WQIK 99.1 on 99.1 FM analog, and 99.1-1 is country music. 99.1-2 is a Spanish contemporary station as Rumba 106.9. WQIK has affiliations with Premier Networks. This station signed on the air in September 1964 and has kept the WQIK FM call sign throughout its history. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 11700 Central Parkway in Jacksonville. Transmitters at 8675 Hogan Road, also in Jacksonville. WQIK FM is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. Translator station W295AZ 106.9 FM Jacksonville Beach relays the Spanish contemporary format on HD2. So WQIK would be a competing station to our next station, 99.9 channel 260, WGNE FM Middleburg, Florida. 99.9 Gator Country. Judging by slogan, this is a country music station. Signed on the air on July 14, 1972 as WIYD, originally licensed to Palaca, Florida. This is in the St. Augustine area. The station underwent 3 call sign changes using 3 sets of call letters until they became WGNE FM in 2000. The station's city of license moved from Palatka to Middleburg in the early 2010s to go into the more lucrative Jacksonville market. WGNE FM has a Class C1 license with FCC, broadcasting at 48,000 watts ERP from studios located at 6440 Atlantic Boulevard in Jacksonville. Transmitter is located on North Georgia Street and Gator Bowl Boulevard in downtown Jacksonville. That's the same tower used by both WAPE and WEJZ. 99.9 Gator Country is owned by Renda Broadcasting and licensed to Renda Broadcasting Corporation of Nevada. I mean, we are just zipping through these. So we're already at 100.7 channel 264, which is WMV Brunswick, Georgia. Now, this is one of the few Brunswick area stations that come into Jacksonville. This station is labeled as The Promise, with a Christian adult contemporary format. This station signed on as WIOI in 1965, underwent 5 call sign changes with 5 sets of call letters, including WOKV FM, which they used briefly from 1991 to 1993. The station became WMUV in 2006. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting with an ERP output of 62,000 watts. Studios are located at 7235 Bentley Road in Jacksonville. The transmitter is located off of McKendree Road in Kingsland, Georgia. This is just across the state line. WMUV is owned by Nancy Epperson and licensed to Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation. 101.5 channel 268, broadcasting in high definition, and I didn't write this down for some strange reason, but they do broadcast in high definition, is WSOL FM, Yulee, Florida. the 101.5. On 101.5 FM analog and 101.5-1 is Urban Adult Contemporary. And 101.5 HD2, or 101.5-2 I should say, is a Spanish Christian station known as Buenas Nuevas. WSOL FM, whose call sign stands for Soul, signed on the air as WYMR FM on September 1st, 1966. They underwent 3 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters, becoming WSOL FM in 1995. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 11700 Central Parkway in Jacksonville. Transmitter is off of McKendree Road in Kingsland, Georgia, same tower used by WMUV. WSOL FM V101.5 is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed IHM Licenses LLC. Translator station W272CQ 102.3 FM Jacksonville relays the Spanish Christian format on HD2. 102.5 channel 273 is WYNR, Waycross, Georgia. WYNR 102.5, pretty standard brand. They play country music affiliated with Premier Radio Networks. This station presumably signed on in 1983 as WQCW. They used 2 different sets of call letters until they became WYNR in 2002. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 97 watts. Studios are located at 3833 US 82 in Brunswick, Georgia. Their transmitter is off of Buffalo Creek Drive in Hickox, Georgia. WYNR 102.5 is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. 102.9 channel 275, broadcasting in high definition, is WEZI Jacksonville. EZ 102.9. On 102.9 FM analog and 102.9-1 is adult contemporary music and Christmas music during the holidays. 102.9-2 is country music. WEZI signed on the air on November 1st, 1965 as WIVY FM. They became WMXQ in 1997 and WXXJ in 2017. Of course, they had an alternative rock format on this station known as X1065. That all changed though on November 20th, 2017 when they and that all changed on November 20th, 2017 when they and WEZI swapped frequencies, with WEZI moving to 102.9 and WXXJ to 106.5. WEZI has a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. That's 100,000 watts analog. Their digital signal is at 4,000 watts. Studios are located at 8,000 Belfort Way in Jacksonville. Their transmitter is at the intersection of Hogan Road and Newton Road near the Channel 59 Tower in Jacksonville. WEZI EZ102.9 is owned by Cox Media Group, licensed to Cox Radio LLC. 103.3 Channel 277 is WQGA, Waycross, Georgia. They're branded as 103Q. with top 40 CHR format affiliated with Westwood One. WQGA signed on the air on August 2nd, 1978. Of course, the WALC called FM sign was assigned by the FCC around that time. The station overall underwent 3 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters before becoming WQGA in 2010. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 3833 US 82 in Brunswick. Transmitter is on Buffalo Creek Drive in Hickox, Georgia. WQGA is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. 104.1 Channel 281 is WRJY, Brunswick. 104.1 The Wave, featuring a country music format, and they also air NASCAR races from the Motor Racing Network. WRJY signed on the air on March 29, 1993 as WAAE. The station became WSEG later that year, and then became the present WRJY in 2003. They have a Class A license with FCC, broadcasting at 4,200 watts. Studios are located at 205 Marina Drive, St. Simons Island, Georgia. Their transmitter is located in the 200 block of Rose Drive, Brunswick. WRJY is owned by Golden Isles Broadcasting, LLC. 104.5 Channel 283, broadcasting in high definition, is WOKV-FM, Atlantic Beach, Florida. News 104.5 WOKV. On 104.5 FM analog and 104.5-1 is News Talk. Affiliations with Fox News Radio, so their news updates are heard at the top of each hour. They also have programming from Premier Networks and Westwood One. On 104.5-2 is an urban adult contemporary station known as Hot 99.5. WOKV-FM signed on as WAQB-FM in July of 1967. They underwent 3 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters, including WFYV and WFYV-FM, which they used from 1979 until becoming WOKV-FM in 2013. Sorry, trying to stop yawning. The station originally began its life at 104.9 FM, but moved a couple clicks down to 104.5 in 1979. That's when they started identifying as WFYV. See if that helps. WOKV-FM has a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting with an ERP of 98,800 watts. Studios are located at 8,000 Belfort Parkway in Jacksonville. Their transmitter is near the intersection of Hogan Road and Newton Road, right behind the Channel 59 television tower in Jacksonville. WOKV-FM News 104.5 is owned by Cox Media Group and licensed to Cox Radio, LLC. Translator station W258CN 99.5 FM Jacksonville relays the Urban AC format on HD2. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 stations left, so we're just about to the finish line. The next 4 stations are short-spaced next to each other. Starting off with 105.3 Channel 287, broadcasting in high definition, and that's WYKB Fernandina Beach, Florida. They're known as Flow 105.3 or Flow 105.3 on 105.3 FM analog and 105.3-1 is Spanish Rhythmic, and 105.3-2 is a Spanish adult contemporary station known as Azul 105.3 HD2. This station signed on the air as WFBJ in 1999. They underwent 3 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters until they became WYKB not too long ago in 2017. They have a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at 3,900 watts. Programming originates from studios located at 4801 East Independence Boulevard, Suite 800, Charlotte, North Carolina. Their transmitter is at 2303 Starrett Road, in Jacksonville. WYKB owned by Norberto Sanchez and licensed to Norson Media LC. Next up is 105.5 Channel 288, broadcasting in high definition. WBHU, St. Augustine Beach. Beach 105.5 on 105.5 FM analog and 105-1 is adult hits. 105.5-2 is country music, known as 106. St. Augustine Country. WBHU signed on as WJQR in 1995. The station underwent 4 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters until they became WBHU on December 22nd, 2014. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 16,000 watts. Studios, offices, and transmitter are located at 567 Lewis Point Road Extension in St. Augustine, Florida. Beach 105.5 WBHU is owned by James Martin and licensed to Flagler Broadcasting, LLC. Translator station W292DE 106.3 FM St. Augustine relays the country format on HD2. Short space next to them on 105.7 Channel 289 is WJGM, Baldwin, Florida. WJGM 105.7 The Gospel. This station features Southern gospel music and Christian talk and teaching programs. This station signed on the air as WUFC on July 30th, 1992. So yesterday marked 30 years since this station's been on the air. They became WXQL later that year in 92, WHJK, or rather WHJX in 2002, before settling on WGJM or WJGM in 2011. They've got a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting with an ERP of 25,000 watts. Studios are located at 5634 Normandy Boulevard in Jacksonville. Their transmitter is located at the end of Boyd Road in Briceville, Florida. WJGM 105.7 The Gospel is owned by West Jacksonville Baptist Church Incorporated. .9 Channel 290 is WXMK Junction, Georgia. Magic 105.9. This station features a hot AC format. First sign-on of this station is unlisted on Wikipedia. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 15,000 watts. Studios are located at 205 Marina Drive, St. Simons Island, Georgia. Transmitter is in the 200 block of Rose Drive in Brunswick, Georgia. And this station is owned by Golden Isles Broadcasting, LLC. These next stations are also short-spaced next to each other. 106.3, channel 292 is WKBX, Kingsland, Georgia. K-Bay 106.3, featuring a country music format. The station signed on the air on February 23, 1987. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting with an ERP of 6,000 watts, broadcasting from studios at 111 North Grove Boulevard in Kingsland, Georgia. Their transmitter is also located in Kingsland at the end of North Boyce Street. WKBX is owned by Radio Kings Bay Incorporated. Short space next to them on 106.5, channel 293. Broadcasting in high definition is WXXJ, Ponte Verde Beach, Florida. X1065, Jacksonville's new rock alternative. On 106.5 FM analog and 106.5-1 is alternative rock, and there are no additional subchannels. WXXJ signed on the air on September 30th, 1996 as WPLK-FM. They did use WPVJ as a call sign during its construction permit from 94 to 96. On air, the station used 4 call sign changes using the call letters, including WOKV-FM, which they used from 2006 to 2013. Now that was the news talk format that migrated to 104.5. And they were briefly known as WFYV-FM in 2013 at all. WXXJ swapped call signs with WEZI on November 20th, 2017, which moved WXXJ to 106.5 with its alt-rock format. It then moved WEZI and its adult contemporary format to 102.9. WXXJ has a Class A license with the FCC, broadcast 6,000 watts. Studios are located at 8,000 Belfort Parkway in Jacksonville, and the transmitter is off of Newton Road, also in Jacksonville. WXXJ X1065 is owned by Cox Media Group and licensed to Cox Radio, LLC. 107.3, channel 297, broadcasting in definition, is the final station in Jacksonville proper by dial position, and that's WWJK, Green Cove Springs, Florida. 107.3, Planet Radio. On 107.3 FM analog and 107.3-1 is mainstream rock. On 107.3-2 is soft adult contemporary music dubbed The Breeze. And 107.3-3 is Christian programming known as Freedom Radio FM. WWJK signed on the air on May 9, 1977 as WJEE. They underwent 4 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters until becoming WWJK in 2012. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 98,000 watts. Studios are located at 11700 Central Parkway in Jacksonville, with transmitting facilities at 8675 Hogan Road in Jacksonville. WWJK 107.3 Planet Radio is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. And then the final station in the market takes us back across state lines. And that's 107.7 channel 299. WHFX, Darien, Georgia. Solid Rock 107.7 The Fox. This station plays classic rock. Signing on the air on September 9th, 1991 as WYNR. The station became WBGA in 2002 and WHFX in 2005. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts. Studios are located at 3833 US 82 in Brunswick, Georgia. Transmitter is near the intersection of Davenport Road and Blythe Island Drive in Brunswick. WHFX, Solid Rock 107.7 The Fox, is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the FM radio stations across Jacksonville and St. Augustine, Florida, and Brunswick, Georgia. So this was our fourth market in the state that we've done. And our series on the AM and FM radio stations across the Sunshine State will continue next with a look at the capital city of Tallahassee. Want to get that in the next couple of weeks. And that'll probably be the last market out that I will probably do for a bit, because football season's coming up and there's going to be a lot of football talk on this channel this year. So if you're a football fan, watch out for that. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell twice every time I post a vid. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and happy listening. And in the meantime, in between time, peace out.